Sarah Ferguson snapped, and what it really exposes about the embattled Yorks. Stay right here because you're about to get the exact question that triggered the walkout, the full backstory of the £500,000 access sting, and the real reason her team tried to stop the cameras. You'll see the pressure points closing in, royal lodge, public backlash, and the reputational math the palace is doing behind closed doors. By the end, you'll know whether that walkout was strategy, panic, or the moment the past finally caught up. Let's set the stage in one sentence. Interviews don't implode without a fuse. This one had several. A decades-long tabloid history, a money scandal that wouldn't die, a family under scrutiny, and a question that cuts through PR. Did she take the cash? The exchange started calm. Regret. Reflection. Safe territory. Sarah speaks about shame, growth, redemption. The interviewer listens. Then the pivot, the 2010 undercover sting. The number that still rattles headlines, £500,000 for access to Prince Andrew. The follow-up every tough interviewer asks, did you accept the $40,000 on camera? That's the moment. The air changes. The temperature drops. And you see it, the instinct to control the narrative by stopping the tape. Don't try and trick me now. I'm not going to play this game. Delete it. Cut it. Move on. Why does that single question hit like a hammer? Because it isn't theoretical. It's granular. Either the cash was taken or it wasn't. Either the moment happened or it didn't. And when you're rebuilding, binary questions are the most dangerous because they demand precision when your story is built on tone. Here's why this matters. Every public figure under fire tries the same three-step rescue. Apologize, contextualize, reframe. Apologize for the act. Contextualize the circumstances. Reframe the identity. I am not the person in that clip anymore. But reframes collapse when there's still a single, unclosed loop, especially one with numbers, video, and a handshake. Rewind to the sting. Undercover reporters. A meeting staged as business. A promise of access. The handshake that launched 1,000 headlines. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Public trust cratered. A family already under a microscope burned again. When that kind of footage exists, you don't negotiate with memory. You negotiate with proof. And proof is sticky. So when the interviewer circles back, that's not gotcha journalism. That's the audit. Redemption requires reconciliation with specifics. Dates, amounts, decisions, consequences. If you skip those, you're not rebuilding, you're repackaging. Now, let's talk about why the walkout plays so loudly today. It isn't just about one interview. It's about a pattern the public thinks it recognizes. Pressure, misstep, denial, damage, control, repeat. And it's colliding with a larger institutional problem. The monarchy is in triage mode. Paring down. Hard lines about who represents the crown and who does not. In that environment, every fresh headline around Andrew and Sarah becomes more expensive than the last. Not just in reputation. In logistics. In security. In property. In whether a grace and favor lifestyle survives a reform agenda, which brings us to Royal Lodge. A home that's become a symbol. To supporters, it's continuity and stability for a long-standing royal family unit. To critics, it's the cost of scandal, the price of never fully detaching from a past the institution wants to outrun. That's why any public meltdown, even years after the sting, lands like a tremor. It shakes a house already standing on disputed ground. What did we actually learn from the walkout? First, trigger management. When your brand rests on redemption, you must name the worst thing yourself, cleanly, early, and repeatedly. The moment you flinch, the audience senses you're still negotiating with the truth. Second, interview physics. If you demand deletion mid-take, you're telling the viewer the most damaging material hasn't aired yet. That creates curiosity, not closure. Third, crisis sequencing. You cannot fast-forward to forgiveness. The public won't let you. They will stop you at the unpaid bill of the past and ask for the receipt. Let's go deeper, because this isn't only about a duchess and a question. It's about how power, shame, and money intersect on camera. The walkout reveals a core contradiction, wanting the catharsis of confession without the pain of detail. But detail is the toll fee for reentry. Without it, the gate doesn't open, and the Epstein shadow? Even when you don't discuss it, it's in the room. It reframes old mistakes as part of a broader pattern of proximity, judgment, and influence. It narrows the margin for error to near zero. In that context, even a raised voice at an interviewer reads not as human frustration, but as a failure to grasp scale. That's why reaction matters. That's why tone matters. That's why saying delete it isn't just a reflex, it's a headline. What would accountability actually look like here? It looks like specifics without bargaining. It looks like naming who set the meeting, who took the call, who brought the cash, who knew, who warned, and who was ignored. It looks like acknowledging that sorry is not a strategy. It's a sentence in a strategy. It looks like accepting that some doors never reopen and that closure can be personal even when the public keeps the case file open forever. Let's talk about audience trust, yours right now. You don't need apologies on loop. You need cause and effect. What decision led to the sting? What pressure made access look like a viable product? What boundaries are different today?
Who enforces them?
If you can't answer those questions, you haven't solved the problem that caused the headline. You've only survived it. Zoom out. The institution is changing. Fewer working royals. Tighter control. Lower tolerance for second chances that cost first impressions. In that atmosphere, the Yorks are not just people, they're a case study. Can a damaged royal brand re-enter public life on its own terms, or does the modern monarchy treat scandal like a one-way door? Every new flare-up suggests the latter. Back to the room. The interviewer asks. She bristles. Aides stir. The request to cut the tape leaves her mouth like a reflex. That's the moment you can pause and ask the only question that matters. Do you want vindication or do you want closure? Because they're not the same. Vindication demands that the public recast you as wronged. Closure accepts that the public may never do that and moves forward anyway, with humility, not control. Here's the hard truth. Walkouts win the moment and lose the narrative. They rescue your feelings and sacrifice your framing. They feel like power, but on broadcast, they read as surrender. And when you return to finish the interview, as she did, the tone is already set. This isn't a redemption arc. It's an autopsy of defense mechanisms. Where does this go next? Pressure on housing arrangements. Pressure on public associations. Pressure on every charity, brand, and event weighing reputational risk. Pressure on anyone who offers a platform and must then answer for it. The calculus is simple. If your presence forces others to explain themselves, your circle shrinks. Let's close the loop we opened at the start. Was that walkout self-preservation, panic, or proof the past isn't done? It was all three. Self-preservation because nobody likes being pinned to a binary. Panic because the question had a number attached to it. Proof because if the past were resolved, there would be no instinct to erase the present. Here's what you can take from this. Beyond the royal soap opera. Reputation isn't what you post. It's what you can withstand. Apologies matter, but audits decide. If your story collapses at the follow-up, it wasn't built to hold. If you've watched this far, you don't just want drama. You want diagnosis. So here it is, clean and unsparing. Own the timestamp truth, or the timestamp truth will own you. Answer the binary without bargaining. Retire the reflex to control the tape. Accept that some privileges end when the bill arrives. And if you're serious about redemption, talk less about shame and more about safeguards. Now I want to hear from you. Did the walkout make you more sympathetic, human under pressure? Or did it confirm that the hardest questions still don't have real answers? Drop your take below. If you want the receipts, the strategy, and the stakes on every twist still to come, subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll keep tracking what happens at Royal Lodge, how the palace sets its lines, and whether the Yorks can build a private peace when public forgiveness won't come, because this story isn't over. Not by a long shot. And the next time a camera starts rolling, we'll see whether Sarah Ferguson has learned the one lesson the public always tests first. Can you face the part of your past that still makes you flinch?